organizing a competition, first ever international classical ballet competition, and I'm just so very, very proud of it, and I want to do a good job. And once I reach into that arena, of course, there's things that comes with it, and I'm happy. I welcome some of the things that came up with my engagement, my extensive the business and into people's lives, into students' lives, and beyond to providing a good education opportunity for the students for DUCON, DUCOMPETE. And I also wanted to solve some of the issues in association with ballet education. Now, for those of you who knows me for a while, I have always been advocate for students and families. I always say I'm on your side. In fact, I'm a father to 2 ballet students. So I feel like I have multiple hats on my head, and I'm a teacher, I'm an event organizer and promoter, and I am also a family member. I'm a husband, and I'm a father to 2 ballet students. Because my position and allows me to be a bit more thoughtful, a little bit more of opportunity to think if there's something that I can do to help up something that I saw and I didn't like to see. So today, without any delay, I'm just gonna go right to it. So my issue with what's your competition with Asia? You know, people will be like, what's your problem with Asia? You know, you are in America. What's your business in Asia? So, you know, particularly this is some of the issues I have to say I encountered and I witnessed in Asia, pretty much isolated in Asian countries. And I have everything to do. You know, people might get upset at me. It says, you know, you're Asian. Why you attack? Why are you targeting? It's not true. It's not. I wanted to be a bridge. I wanted to be a ambassador. I wanted to be a person who introduced some of a new idea, introduced some of the idea and help family to understand some of the misconception about ballet competition. And that have something to do with culture. And that's why to be a Chinese person, I think I can understand some of the issues that we encounter in Asia. First of all, in Asian countries, like let's say, for example, in Singapore, this is where my event is going to go, and this is one of the very first foreign DUCON, nearly 5 years ago, and the destination. I love this country, don't get me wrong, I love the people, I love the culture, I love the food, and I love everything about it. But with the ballet competition part of it, and I think I have a lot to do with Asian culture. Now, this is something I'm stepping into a subject arena that probably a little bit far from the issues that I'm about to addressing, but in the way it's not. Because in order to unpack, in order to unravel some of the issues, I want to go a little deeper to go into people's psychology with this kind of things. First of all, people live in Asia, families in school, we don't want any trouble. That's the thing. We don't want it to be labeled as a troublemaker. We don't want it to be our students or family or child to labeled as a troublemaker or blacklisted for something, right? This is like the fear, absolute fear. We want it just to be one of the many. We don't want to stand out. We don't want to speak out just because we don't want to be labeled as such and such. Well, you know what? The truth is, now I fully agree with that. And this is even me in this side of the world. I even live in America. I follow that doctrine, seriously. If there is a problem, I want to go away. I don't want a problem. You know, if the problem can go away, I'd rather have it go away. If the problem, I always say to my kids, you know, if the problem it can solve, I prefer to solve the problem. Because it's wasting energy and wasting time, and there's no need. However, my experience with this kind of things is that they're not going to go away unless we do something about it. They're not just going to go away just because we don't want it to happen. They're not going to just go away just because I want it to be a good citizen. I want my children to to be one of the many and act as a perfect and everything. And at the same time, expect to be treated fairly, expected to have no problem come to my way. If I put myself out there in a scene like a ballet competition, could be highly competitive, high emotions involved, right? People spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and teachers, schools' reputation is on the line. In that kind of heightened environment, our attitude of we don't want a problem, we want it to be treated perfectly, but we don't want to speak out if we see anything that unfair. That does not go side by side. It doesn't work that way because people actually creating the problem is not going to recognize that you want to be a good person. I want to leave you alone, I want to treat you good, treat you well. And oftentimes, you will be taken advantage of. And to be a person that normally don't want the problems, Mr. Dude, today and these days, you know what? It's time for me to speak up. It's time for me to share something that I do not think is fair. I do not think it's professional, and I do not think it's ethical. Okay, I want to just go there. Because I am, to be honest, I mean, just before my wife was like, are you sure? You know what? I'm at this place in my career at this moment. I'm pro-family. I'm pro-student. I am on those fathers' side. When I have Zoom meeting with those fathers, with those moms, and they trust me, right? They trust my opinion. They even come to me with their point shoe issues. Now, Mr. Du have never once performed or anything in point shoes, and they come to me with their point shoes problems. It tells me what? Tells us what? I have their trust, which is this is something that I treasure absolutely the most is people's respect and their trust in my opinion. Full spectrum, from the brand of point shoes all the way to they come to me with a situation, ask for advice. So here we are today. I wanted to introduce two situations to you, and I love to hear your opinion. I absolutely, so please write. I got Miss Erin here. I got Mr. Josh here. We got a whole team on deck. I mean, this is full throttle, whole team on deck. I got people overseas looking at this, and I'm not turning back. I'm not backing down. I am not going to see the evil and pretend not seeing it. Because to me, wow, are you exaggerating? It's like you use the word evil. You know what, to me, if you take advantage of children, if you bully children, a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, just wanted to have a good educational experience, if these people get bullied, guess what? That's borderline that, okay? So we can do a lot of, adults can take a lot. Adults take advantage of each other. Adults do what have you. But you know what? We're gonna have to make sure the kids are not a part of it, okay? So unfortunately, what we're dealing with here is all the issues that I'm about to talk about is all on the back of kids' benefit, their interest, and their path to success, and their whole outlook to the world. And we have the responsibility to create a world, perhaps with some hopefulness, some beauty about the world they step into. It is not adults' job to paint this world that already darkened before they even step into adulthood. So if we do that, and if I, as an educator and as a father, and see things like this and have people's trust, I'm just gonna say, you know what, you just have to deal with it. We can't just be quiet, go away, and then you will be better next time. I've done this for years, and I'm not doing that anymore. I don't want to. So here is I want to introduce you two scenarios. Now you, as audience member, you know, all these people here in the United States, in Africa, in North America, and tell me what is the option right here. So this is student, this mom wrote to me saying that right away they said that they participate in this competition and they firmly believe that this competition is rigged. Okay, the competition is rigged. So this scenario I have described to you before, and you have worked so hard, you come to the lobby, and you have your tutus, you have your dance bag, you have all the beauty, you got everything. I've seen it, they look so perfect, and you come into this theater, you come into this environment. Now, how would you feel knowing that there are a group of people already have decided your fate before you even step into the theater, step onto the stage, before the music of your vibration even played? Some people, a group of people have already planned, decided the outcome of your performance before you even step into the theater. How about that? Now, how would you feel about that? Now, this question was, to me personally, a couple years ago, I think last year, somebody said to me, so what do you think? It was a situation. It was somebody saying, well, you know what? I guess it was okay. It's not a big deal. And this is a person, a mentorship to me. I regard this person as my mentor in this kind of arena. And she pointed out to me, she says, what if this is Vivian? That's my younger daughter. What is this Vivian? This opportunity could very well be Vivian's, but somebody have stolen it. Somebody have already planned. And that woke me up. You know, I was outraged because it was like, what? Because it was supposed to be, let's say, Vivian had a fair chance for this scholarship, for this particular master class, for this particular opportunity to take this class with this beautiful teacher, but it was planned. Vivian was not a part of it. Now, we are in the dark. We don't know. Vivian was never a part of it. It was already hijacked to somewhere else. And when that scenario brought to me, and I was quite outraged. Now, this is happening to this family who contacted us, that she firmly believed that this competition was rigged because the awards that her child was being awarded, and now keep in mind, her child was given an award. And this group of students, as she described to me, who got an award, have no distinction. There's no differentiation between this, let's say, you know, she didn't say exactly how many this group is, let's say 8 students got the same amount, same type of award, 8 people stay on stage. For the love of God, they cannot differentiate the differences between these 8 people. It could be a male and female, different age, different skill set, and within it, there was a student that was absolutely her very first time participate a competition. Now, this student is a seasoned competitor. I have worked with this child before. And so mom said that she was among a group of students absolutely cannot differentiate what is the understanding of the reason behind the awards. Okay, that was number one, because it's kind of random, just basically random. Here's the group of students, okay, you go ahead. And then the kicker is all the gold, every single gold went to one school. That to me, mathematically doesn't work. Just because if every judge putting a score, there should be a somewhat a random combination and composition of people with one particular medal. In this particular case is the gold. So one group of students, 8 of them, is a mixed match of everything. Can be different age, different skill set, different the boys, girls, all together, just all together. However, this diversity, it did not appear in the gold medal count. So all the gold went to one particular school. That to me is interesting, because if you have diversity, if you have the randomness of this competition, it's one thing. But when it comes to gold, somehow the calculation was very interesting. It's all pointed out to one group of students that got all the gold. When the situation appears to be like that, and you can easily imagine some people will look at this as rigged, and I would too. if I see an award ceremony and I see all the gold went to one particular school and everything else is kind of a diversity of mixed match of whole bunch, something's wrong. And guess what? If you feel something wrong, guess what? Your gut feeling tell you that something's wrong. Most likely something was wrong. Okay? And here's the thing. So they asked me, what should they do? What should they do? So my thing is, it's always good to ask for score, ask for the sheet, how everyone was how those score was giving. So I was asked a competition for the scores. Each judge the numbers, and that's a record. I mean, this is, if it was done on a computer, if it was done on a paper, it must be somebody enter a system, because those prizes, those placement is generated from the data that we produced, the jury member produced, right? This is not a big deal to produce something like this. So my idea is to her, it's it's okay. It's just it's a professional request to see if you can you show me the records of the scoring. I'd like to know. Quite frankly, you paid for it, right? So they invited judges from all over the world to this competition. They got a fee. They live in a hotel. They have a travel and everything. Your registration fee pays for it. So you pay for a service of evaluation and assessment. You have every right to see how your child fare compared to everyone else. And as I described it to you yesterday in my live stream, the YGP has been doing this for a quarter century, more than 25 years. From very beginning, we have handwritten notes of each jury member, their comments about your particular child's performance and a score in association to it. I have written them for years. Then you get them in the mail, original paper, original. You get in the mail. Sometimes you scratch them, sometimes you write it again, you get that in the mail. And guess what? The valuable, because that's what people is looking for, the valuable process about this is actually teachers can look at the notes. Okay, the EPROMA needs to be a little bit better here, and the diagonal was incorrect. Can you work on the articulation, the footwork, what have you, everything. That's what I wrote, non-stop, as a jury member. And that's one of the benefits for students to participate in competition, get that feedback, get that evaluation so they can get better. That evaluation comes from a master teacher level of jury member, correct? That's what you paid for. Now, here's the kicker, here's the thing. And the family told me that the competition, either you have to pay a fee, or there's some kind of trouble, some kind of obstacle that it makes very difficult for this record to be presented to you. And that to me is a problem. It's just a problem. So then decided this student decided, and she said, you know what, I'm okay, I just want to move on. Now, it breaks my heart. The adults said, you know what, let's move on. Let's make a decision for the child. Let's move on. It's not worth our time. But this child said, let's move forward. Let's move on. It kind of broke my heart. And I know this student, okay? For this student to say that, I don't believe this student is going to forget this experience. And I believe this experience is going to will leave a long-lasting impact on a spectrum of things of her growing up. The way she look at adults, the way she look at the testing, exams, evaluation, the trust issue that she has to authority figure, everything. So it is not just about a competition. This is about a child's educational experience, her learning opportunity of not only dance, but people, unfortunately. In this particular, it's adults behaving badly. To me, that's not acceptable. That is not. So for all those you people out there who are organizing this type of competition, you should open record of the jury member. You got 5, you got 3, what have you, keep the record. You should voluntarily offer those data to the parents. They paid for it. Because by not doing so, you're guilty of something right from the start, in my opinion. So for those of you watching, for those of you who are like a competition organizer, whatever, learn something from your peers. Learn something from people who have gone here years ago. Learn the good things that they have practiced. Be progressive. Don't be regressive. Don't take advantage of family. Don't take advantage of children. Don't be secretive. Don't be unethical. Okay? Take advantage of children. It's not a good business to be in. Okay, so you have to ask, you have to live with yourself. You have to go home and live with yourself. When you say to the mother, you know what, you have to pay for it, whatever that amount might be. That posture itself, it's not good. You should just get out of business and do something else. Because if this is your way of being successful and making that quick buck, make the quick money, and step onto other people's opportunity of learning and fair chance to compete, no, get out of business. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve their attention, their respect, their time. You don't. Okay, I actually know who you are, but I'm not going to say it. So that got me really upset for a couple of days, to be honest with you, and my team, and also looking at this. And that's why yesterday I wanted to just get something out of my chest and to talk about it. So I wanted to go to your comments. I want to see what are some of the stuff that you are. So let me just read this for a second. So someone said that they need to pay $80. Did you pay the registration fee? How much did you pay? You already paid. So this $80, it is so pathetic. So for those of you asking for $80, it's so pathetic because they already paid you. They already paid you. What they paid you is what? Is for that information. What they pay you is not for your wine, dine, all that. That's a part of it. But students paid for what? For that information, for the score, for the fair assessment. Why they even go to the competition? To get the assessment, correct? So they already paid. So they want to have assessment. You wanted them to. You want to have them to pay another $80 for what? For what? For what? If you don't have anything to hide, for what? So if you ask them for $80, may as well say, I'm guilty. I'm conspiring something. I'm hiding something. I'm not clean with my business. I am doing something is not open to the public. That's what you mean by charging that $80 for the data, because you cannot justify it. Everything is in a computer. Everything in the computer. If you use paper, there's a paper trail. You can take a picture. It takes about, I don't know, 5 minutes. Let me go to the next one. I'm going to stay calm a little bit because I'm like, 40 minutes into it. I'm a little bit wild up already. We have a lot to unpack. I am, this is outside. Everybody, you have to know this is outside of my comfort zone. I'm not like that. My wife knows me. I don't want problems. I'm a Chinese person. I'm a Chinese man. I don't want problems. I would never go on social media to troll someone or ask them questions. Not me. This is not me. But you know what? I feel responsible, right? I feel responsible to the people who I have been serving for a while now, and the students in those countries. I saw them grow up. The students, I I have pleasure to witnessing their growing up. But I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to do my part to make sure their journey is somewhat healthy and freed of that stuff. Freed of that stuff the adults are engaging in is so just pathetic for a few dollars. In this particular case, $80. Come on, you need that $80 for students asking you for data of scoring? Please, just do something else. Next one. So this is I'm a parent of a young aspiring ballerina choosing between two schools, a smaller private school, a large commercialized, but both offer elite programs. Since parents can't observe lessons, it's hard to know in an environment. It's hard to know which environment will truly support the program, her growth. Bigger school seems to offer more performance/competition opportunities, but I'm unsure if those mainly to go to the top field. Would a smaller school provide more dedicated guidance at this stage? What are factors that would a parent prioritize? That's such a good question. Very good question. We as adults, sometimes our gut feeling is very important. And unfortunately, sometimes we ignore our gut feeling. And I have making those mistakes all the time. And I am pray to God that I don't make those mistakes anymore. But I think I will. But my gut feeling told me about an environment you walk into. When you talk to the school director, when you talk to the teachers, when you talk to the family. Now, this is a couple of things I want to ask. I like to offer you to do is when you talk to the community surrounding that school, it's very important to find the information. One is other families, other moms, how they feel about it, because they will be the first one to somewhat give you a clear answer how they feel about it. It can be like, oh, and it's like everything else. It has its benefits, it has its shortcomings, but we like it. And she's just over there 2 or 3 times a week, and we like it very much, and the teacher kind. Now, that's very important. So the kindness, while the kindness alone, it is not a main ingredient to produce a good educational experience. The kindness alone is not, right? Because the skill and knowledge and their methodology, how they teach, is a part of it as well. So 2 things, the kindness and knowledge has to combine, okay? So, however, if I have to choose which one is more, if I have to choose the kindness over, I would not choose a person who has a lot of knowledge but is nasty. I would not do that. Because that personality, let's say unkindness, will erode, will make the knowledge and experience not worth anything, because nothing professional, nothing good as a professional practice can build on terrible personality or nasty personality, because this person, this teacher's strength cannot live on terrible personality and bad business conduct. Okay, so you understand that could never happen. If somebody said, I am absolutely professional, I have the best ingredient for a great teacher, I am the phenomenal teacher, but I'm not a kind and honest person, that doesn't work, because her strength doesn't have anything to live on. It doesn't have the leg to support that kind of knowledge to be sustainable. However, the other way around, somebody who has a kind heart, who has a big heart, who is a loving person, who cares, who has empathetic feelings toward people, that person can learn. Her professional or his professional ability can grow over the time, right? So this person has a better chance to succeed in the long run. So I would invest somewhere that has that to be the important element. So by talking to the people surrounding that school, you'll find out some knowledge. And another thing is interview, right? So guess what, who you are to that school? You're a client. Am I right? You're a client. You are ready to give your time and resources to buy what? To buy a service. So if the interview is, they interview you or you interview them? You interview them, right? You're about to give your child, it could be 5, could be 6, very innocent, young mind, young body, and like a sponge, or absorb all the information by looking at it, hearing it, and experience it while you're not there to protect her. Do you trust you put your child into an environment that you don't have a good gut feeling about it? No, I wouldn't do that, right? A lot of times you can find out, you can get the feeling of that with interview, talking to somebody. And I do believe by watching, observing a class is important. If teachers say, no, you cannot watch, that would be not my choice. That wouldn't be a choice of mine, of that school. If you say, well, can I observe a class? I can be on the side, I could be anything. Can I just feel how my child is, as far as chemistry-wise, how she would possibly connect to your teaching? Because sometimes a teacher could be really great to one group of students, but somehow the chemistry doesn't work to my child. It's fair, right? But another teacher, perhaps everybody afraid of her, but my child love her. So that can all happen, but you will never find out until you put your child into the situation with the guidance of yours, with protection of yours. Until you're absolutely sure, I wouldn't engage. I wouldn't engage. I wanted to find out, and I wanted to see how my request is being received. If students, oh yeah, please welcome to see it. You know, we'll give you a trial class. Maybe you can observe it and to see how you feel about it, right? If they say, well, okay, this school, the class is not public. Whether you just have to trust us. This is something. Right away, this posturing, you can find out a lot of things. Your gut feeling in this particular case. So without knowing who are those two schools, it's difficult for me to give you more than that. But I do believe small school offer a learning, a growth opportunity. She might get a better care, perhaps, from a smaller school because it's not like a big store, a huge department store. This is a smaller store. Maybe the customer service is a little bit better. Perhaps. But that does not mean big school does not have a good customer service. It's about you. It's for you to find out, and please, you have to make all the decisions in the benefit, the best interest of your child, not anything else. Not anything else. If the whole community said this is the best school to go, but if it's not for your child, it's not for your child. It's not for your family, it's not for your family. If you feel weird feeling about that director or about certain teachers, don't go. Your feelings, your gut feelings are probably right. So here's the thing. It says for 10-year-old joining competition, the judge usually give us platinum or high score if they see we have a potential. Well, for a 10-year-old, well, nowadays, the ages move up a little fast. For 10, that's a pre-PC, they call it a pre-competitive age, a 10-year-old. So for a 10-year-old, yes, they're looking for potential, and they're looking for the training, they're looking for the certain spark on stage, but they do looking for potential is absolutely the I would say number one. Because as a professional, you can already imagine, you can envision what this child is like grown up, because what we're looking for is a foundation. What we're looking for, it's like we look at a small plant. It already has its shape. It's already have a leafy green, the branches are already in a good shape. Now we can see this plant has potential to grow into a nice tree. So that's what we're looking at it. Yeah, so it's and the extra spark, which is the eyes and how they communicate and with the audience. And the overall, I always write the overall artistic presentation, the attention to the details, how she walks on stage, how she walks off stage, how she does the curtsy, everything about, it's a whole package. It's not just about the turn, about the jump. It's the whole presentation. This is the skill set of the teacher. And I do have to say, you know, DUCON teachers are skillful in that sense to bring out the very best, because it's like you go to competition, you want to bring out the very best of the child. In the way you want to hide the weakness at that moment. You want to present the very best, right? You go to the competition, it's not a place for you to show your flaws. You want to show your very best. And that presentation is actually the skill, the knowledge and experience of the coach, of the teacher. Yeah, and we want to see and the energy, the feeling I always talk about. The love, the energy, the spark. It's a very interesting place to be, because if we do it correctly, we can cultivate, we can bring more out of the child. If the child already have in her, we can bring the more, the love of dance, the inspiration out of her eyes. And that's a very fine line between that moment till she's burned out. I see 10-year-old burned out, I've seen it, because they lose the spark in the eyes. The eyes has no glow. You know, sometimes I'm looking at a child like what this child has possibly experienced for her to have a facial expression like that at the 11-year-old. And looking at a teacher is like completely distant and has no interaction, has no reflection of words, of anything. What has happened? So from a vibrant, beautiful, great energy child to that one that I just described, sometimes it's like one step forward, just like this. One bad experience, one thing they experienced, one thing that they heard, something they have encountered, something they participated. Like that child that I talked about earlier and decided, told her parents, I think I'm just gonna let go, I'm gonna move on. That's what I'm talking about. They get burned out. The next time they enter a competition, guess what's the first thing on their mind? Is the experience they had prior to that. And do you think the child has this kind of feeling on stage? Yes, we're looking for potential. So I got a little far with this. But it's like we cultivate a little plant. We have to take care of it. We have to make sure there's just enough of everything for her to grow, for him to grow, right? So don't push too hard. So I'm going to go back to my topic a little bit, and before I take a little bit, a few more questions, and I love this engagement with everyone, please. So today's topic is about some of the stuff that you don't want to see, some of the things that you have experienced, and I like to ask your opinion about this this situation that I just experienced to you. Share the experience I just shared with you. So I want to move on. Recently, we have gotten another information quite interesting, and this student has been participating in DUCON as long as I remember. Young child, a baby girl, and she's grown up, and mom said that her school is not allowing their students to join DUCON. Now, this is interesting. First of all, she used the word allowing. Now, this is why in the beginning, you know, my wife is like, be careful, you know, you said that competition in Asia, why targeting Asia? Because guess what? These two things that I'm explaining to you, it's very unlikely happen. It very unlikely happens in America. If a school said, you're not allowed to join DUCON or join any con, anything. You're not allowed without producing a profound reason. So the reason could be, let's say there's schedule conflict. At the same time, DUCON is school is already planned. Perhaps this student is engaging in a group piece. 15 girls dancing on stage together. And you say, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. I wanted to join DUCON. Now, I don't think that's right, okay? Because you made a commitment to an ensemble piece with 14 other girls, already sacrificed the time and put in the time and the energy to produce the good piece. Everything's made for you to participate in another competition at the same time. I don't think it's right for you to say, you know, I don't want to do that, I want to do this. And there's a commitment that you made to the school, to your peers, to the other family members. I don't support that, right? So this is some decision you have to make, and you already made a prior commitment to some things. I don't think that's right, and I don't support that. However, if no profound reason is given, or schools say, you know, in America, there's one situation that might happen in America is that schools say, we don't do competitions. So if you want to do competition, if you wanted to go to another, like a summer intensive or something like this, we don't do it. You have to come to our school to do all internal. There's a school here, big school, that they have a rule. They're not allowing the students to do summer intensives. You know, as much as I think it's wrong, but they told you from the very beginning that you're not allowed to go elsewhere because we wanted to continue all training with you, because they're afraid that when they go out there, your body is being messed up by other program, which is 100% disagreement with that statement. Nobody is gonna mess up anybody, okay? So you go over there, as long as there's professional conduct, that's a whole other story. A teacher has to behave professionally. But your training somehow is being messed up because you know, they're teaching Vaganova, we're RAD. If you go over there, you're completely messed up my RAD training. I don't buy that. Nobody have the right mind. Nobody have decent education can believe that's true. However, you have to give them credit because they told you from the very beginning, you're not, if you want to go elsewhere for summer intensive, don't come to our school, because you come to my school or school, the summer intensive, you have to join ours. They say that from the very beginning. So family have a choice. I say, okay, that's something I have to live with, and so be it. And whether you say I go or I don't go, that's your choice, right? Or another school said, you know, it's a very big school here in America. We don't do competitions. There's quite a few schools. We don't do competition. If you want to do competition, you cannot go. There's a very rigid school here. You cannot go. If you want to go to competition, don't come to our school. Fair enough, right? They told you from the very beginning, you have a choice. If you want to go to competition, this is not the school for you to be. Or you want to go to competition, you have to participate as an independent participant. Cannot use all schools' name. Fair enough, right? That's why we see a lot of independent competitors. Some of them are phenomenal students. There's one competition I was a part of it, YGP in foreign countries. The independent students were phenomenal. We were so shocked. Where's all those students coming from? Those come up big vocational schools did not pass the school's internal audition, because when you pass the internal audition, school pay for the expenses, the registration fee, travel and hotel, everything. But if you didn't pass, you cannot go to on behalf of school. So they participated as independent. Right, so you can go. So in America, it's very clear under those two scenarios that to preventing a family to go somewhere else in the summertime or to participate in competition. Otherwise, who is going to tell your family that you cannot, as on your money, your time, and your decision for your child, which school can look at you straight into your eyes, you're not allowed to do it, and does not give you a profound reason? That's why this kind of issues only happens in certain countries that I have been experienced right now, particularly in Asia, because I do business there. And this is why I don't say the competition scene that I see in America, because we don't, this two particular situation, I don't see it. You're never going to go to a competition in America, ask you $80 for a feedback for a data, for a score sheet that you have already paid for it. It will never happen here. If it happens in here, they won't last. They won't last another year, and nobody will go there. Right? So that's why I said in this particular case, I do not believe school have the right to tell your family, to tell you straight to your face that you're not allowed to join DUCON or any other thing just because we don't like it, just because I don't like him. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like anything about me. It's okay. But if the family believe DUCON is serving their students beautifully, and they have a good experience with us before, and they feel like we have provided a compelling educational experience, they see their students actually improve spending 1 week with us more than spending a year or 6 months with their teachers, guess what? That's your problem. That's not our problem. So you should do better job to training the students so they don't have to say, you know what, I spent a week with DUCON, I got improved so much, I never known I can learn this one competition variation in a week. I feel I improved so much that I want to do it again. The school said you cannot do it. You're not allowed. And that posture itself, I do not think it's right. So that is the families I wrote is a basic right family has to choose what's best for their child. And it's your time, your money, and your decision to make, and yours only. To me, this is a very simple concept. If my daughters involving in school, and I say, you know what, I want to go to DUCON, school tell me you're not allowed, I'll leave today. That's it. I'll leave. You're not going to leave a trail of bad reputation and afraid. Family, you have to be, do not be fearful. Understand? Don't be fearful. You don't need to feel being harassed or fear of something might happen to you and your child, or not being treated correctly if I speak up, if I said, you know, we wanted to do this. If that's the case, the school is not the place for you. It's not the place for anybody, in fact. The school needs to use implied bad treatment, implied punishment to keep their students in line, keep you in line to do what they wanted to do. That's a scary place to be. And nobody should have that kind of power. Nobody. It's after all, it's a ballet school. Think about it. It's a ballet. It's not like a political statement. It's not like right now in America, 2 political parties and everything. That's not it. You're a ballet school. You're a ballet school director. Don't think too much of yourself. You don't have that kind of power to tell anybody, don't do anything. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree anything that we do. However, that's not a decision for you to make, because the child thinks that we're great. The family think we're great. And therefore, it's not your right to tell them you're not allowed. So that brings me to think a little bit, why? I like to think why. If you say, you know what, DUCON, in my opinion, has always done a terrible job, right? They're disorganized. They always, terrible teachers. They never promise to deliver anything. Let's talk about it. If you say this is the case, and I don't believe so, and the public don't believe so, the feedback we got from everybody, it does not support that claim. However, that could be debate. Even so, that's not your decision to make. Again, I always go back, that's not your decision to make. You can make suggestions. Some people come after me saying that, what do you think of this? What do you think that? I always say, this is my suggestion, my experience with certain things, but does not mean that should be applied to you. I will never say, you don't ever go there. That is not our job. Our job to support, to provide our opinion. But when you provide opinion, when you're telling people, here's the thing, the word is not allowed. That's my problem. You can say, I don't support DUCON because such and such and such. I don't believe this. It's fine. No, you don't have to like me. That's fine, no problem. But the problem is, say you're not allowed. That's my problem. So when that happened, actually, let me go to some questions. Let's just hang that a little bit because I'm gonna go deep into why. Because that is why we do this. It's uncover, unravel, and help you to understand the reasoning behind. Perhaps you don't see it, and I do. I see it clear as day. So here is a question. Do you review the judge's comment after the competition with yours? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. My daughter comes back, and I even found, I can even see the patterns of certain jury members, because sometimes you have, it could be differentiation of somebody, let's say, scored her a 95. The next judge is like 89 or 90, like a big difference. I'm like, this is, we scrutinize it to see the comments and why everything, we continue work on it for something. Then year after year, I feel, what I understood is that particular jury member's 90 equals other people's 95, because that's just how he score. He thinks 90 is, in other people's eye, is 94, 95, right? He will go down to like 80, which is, we really don't do that. It's like 85, it's like it's like average. But we decipher. I help students. Sometimes even I have people request, come and look at, Mr. Dude, here is the comments. Can you help me to understand it? Because they write very fast. They write very, the words, because of speed, they have to watch, they have to write. So I even help students. We sit down, we look at the score sheet, and we look at the comments, and we get to work. Especially if you got invited to the finals. And that sheet is important, because that helps you moving forward from here. That helps you, because that's what their point of view, that's what they saw. They never rehearsed you. They never saw you in studio. Their first impression, see you on stage. It's absolutely valuable, because sometimes of a teacher, to see the variation too many times, we're sensitized, right? We see, okay, maybe it's okay. But for someone else, under the light, in the costume, in front of the audience, when the jury member, what they see, the information they receive, that's why I say the jury member, it's important to write down how you feel at that moment. It's absolutely invaluable. Yes, the answer is absolutely. I sit down with my students and I look over and to see what they say. And because they sent me, right? They sent me score sheet, and the parents email me, forward to me, okay, I see, so-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, and saying this. And I rehearse, I solving an issue from this. My student, the foot situation, the retrograde sickle like this. The comment wrote, when jury member wrote, watch that foot is sickling, watch the foot. And she won the Grand Prix. But the comment comes back, say, watch the foot. We start working that foot, because you look from particular angle. Sometimes I look at it, again, you're sensitized, right? So but if a jury member look at it from a particular angle, it's like you caught like this. And he says, watch that foot. Don't sickle that foot. Oh my God, it was like, wow. This is why you pay for this. So we got to work, and we're solving the problem. We're solving the problem, because I don't want the jury member, I say to my student, I say, this is very important. Because now he has written that to you. So what are his expectations? Number one, next time he sees you at the finals, he doesn't want to see it, right? They all remember. I remember everything I wrote. And if he specifically said that there's foot issue and we got to go to work, there's no other way around it, right? We got to work and it was gotten better, and then now I don't see the problem anymore. So for that, it's absolutely worth it. So yes, we sit down. This is my minimal expectation from teachers, but unfortunately, it did not happen. Well, this is the whole aspect of what teacher is looking at, what a teacher truly, if the teacher said, well, this is just a whole bunch of stuff they roll, it doesn't mean anything, well, there's a problem. If the teacher thinks that way, there's a problem. Those information to me is invaluable, and we absolutely have to alter and change the game plan, the rehearsal strategy according to your performance of that variation. Because I see it sometimes in the studio, I don't see it on stage. I look at the video, I say, oh God, okay, I got it, I got this. We needed to fix that because I see the issues. And that's why you go to a competition. Do you go there, get the foot tall gold trophy? Sometimes it's so heavy, you have to carry it with both arms. You get that. Is that what you pay for? No, no. That's not what you pay for. And for the competition organizers, please know, you're not going to survive. I'm going to tell you one more thing. Because everything is evolving, everything's changing, everything is moving forward, people are getting educated. People, what I met here is the families, the moms and dads being in this situation. Don't think they're fools. Don't think they don't know. Don't think they are just easily for you to be manipulated. They know. They know very well. So nothing is going to stay still for years to come. Everything is going to move forward. I'm going to do my part to make sure it's moving forward to a correct direction, at least better direction than what I've been seeing now, right? So competition, why this teacher did not happen? Because the teacher doesn't think much of it, the competition, because if the teacher, maybe if they know something behind the scene, that competition is somewhat rigged, you just get this. The jury member is there like at the puppet, they just write something just for the show, whatever. And the whole thing is a problem there. Because it's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be everybody go there, get a gold medal. It's not supposed to be like that. It's only the excellent to get rewarded, and the other people is getting what? An invaluable experience, feedback from a jury member so you can be better the next time. That's the simplest way to put what competition should be for the mass public, for the most people. YGP kept their top 12. If they have hundreds, like 1,000 students, the big event, they might have top 24, like the one in Toronto. It's like everybody in Canada goes there. The entire country of Canada goes there, the YGP in regional in Toronto. They have top 24. Top 24, you don't even get onto stage. You just stand up, you do a little curtsy, that's it. They always kept top 12 on that stage, top 12 on that stage. You get to go on that stage. It doesn't matter. It could be junior level. It could be like 250 students junior. They're always top 12 on that stage. And only top 12 get a piece of paper. Only the number 1, number 2, number 3 get a plaque. And then they occasionally have a Grand Prix. That's what they kept. Because in order for those plaque, the first and second place to have any value, you have to make sure this is a limited number. It's a scarcity. It's the scarce of the medals. So if you go over there and have, what dilutes the value and integrity of your competition is you see seed of medals, right? Somebody I saw it on Instagram brought home like a 20 silver. What in the world? For one school, I don't know, something like this. For one school, like 20 silver, something like this, it's like a craziness. So how many silver medal in that actual competition? So I'm not going to be that, conduct my business like that. I don't think I think it's a trap for everybody. I think it's a trap for the students because you're always going to chase that. It's a rush. It's a adrenaline, has zero value, has no value. It's a minute, you go on stage and you get rewarded, but something, and soon after that it disappears, has no value, because you know very well, you look around, there is like 25 students in your school getting the same thing. So it's fake. It has no value. So if this teacher thinks that this is somewhat like that, that's why they don't take it seriously. And if they look at the comment, they say, if the comment is like, good, nice, good job, what's the point for the teacher to review this? So I'm going to talk about later on in my unravel segment, later on in the hour, I want to talk about what jury members are supposed to do. What's all conduct supposed to be? What's your conduct? What is your professional conduct as a jury member? Very important. So this person, I would like to know if that's the standard practice. It's not. It's not. If not, then what is the point of sending my daughter? Great question. Fantastic question. So I just told you the purpose of the competition is evaluation, assessment, for her to get properly evaluated and get professional feedback from the masters, supposed to be at a higher level. And the first, a pair of fresh eyes looking at your child give you the feedback, and you're supposed to take the knowledge, take the information, take the data, and you go back, work on it. That is, to me, is a fundamental concept of competition for students, okay, for younger students anyway. For older students, they want to get a job at the YGP finals, like the seniors, they're getting a job right after competition. But for a young child, that's your step into a world, a step at a time forward. The competition serves as a vehicle to support you, right? Not creating all kinds of chaos, not creating all kinds of scenario that confuse you, confuse the family. Because for family, this whole scene can be very confusing. You could be easily lost. You could easily be manipulated, and that's the problem. That's where we are today. Another thing, I've been ignored in class or brushed aside because I'm not technically perfect or good enough for my age as a student in ballet school. Is this a hassle for a teacher to giving me correction? Well, you know what? Annalise, let me tell you something. The issue we hear is, I conduct teachers' educational workshops, and the things that I often observed is the students who is good students, very advanced in the class, they are the students who gets the most corrections, because it's easier for the teacher to feel a sense of accomplishment. It's easier for teacher to feel their teaching is making a very big difference because the product itself is advanced. So it's subconsciously, it's easier for them to drawn to those students to make, in return, to make themselves feel really great, because which teacher doesn't want to see their correction to be, instruction to be visualized in the very profound, beautiful way, right? So in this particular case, and at least my suggestion to you is you just work hard. You have to demand, you have to work hard, you have to be excellent, you have to demand attention. You have to demand attention, because it is not helpful if you go to the teacher and say, I need a correction, give me some corrections. That conversation in reality conceptually could work if the teacher is very professional, having a very engaging conversation, and at least say, I would like to have a little bit more correction, attention in the classroom. That could be a very fair conversation, but in reality, very little chance can go well, because the teacher said, well, you have to work harder, you have to earn my attention. That would be the natural response to it, which is unprofessional, but I can tell you that would be the natural, even if they don't tell you to your face, that's how they think about it, right? So I do differently, right? I go to the person who needs the most help, and they get my attention because I want them, because they need more help, they need more support. But that's not how everybody teaches, right? Most of the teachers want to always drawn to the perfect feet, perfect leg, and everything else. So you just have to do, I'll give you a very practical advice, at least. You just have to work hard and do better. You have to make your work profound. You have to take the correction that they've been giving to other students as though it was yours. Step in front, taking the place, and be present. And that's my advice to you. Always work within. Always work within. To the point where if you think the teacher is so biased and so unfair, so favoritism, whatever that might be, guess what? There are some teachers that only teach one student in the entire class. Their teachers do the business that way. Very, very often. Their eyes only go to one particular student. That's very easily happen like that. So you just have to work hard and demand attention. And then Mr. Du is going to do the workshops and train those teachers who is not professional. And the teachers, my friends, don't get me wrong, I love teachers, but sometimes we have a tendency to, our eyes always go to the ones with the perfect feet. It's not anybody's fault. They just need to know, to be aware. Everybody deserves and need their attention, and they have to be more professional in terms of how they give corrections. So I want to move on a little bit to the second segment of this whole thing. Let me just drink a sip of water. In the meantime, I love to feedback of the topic of today. Mr. Josh is putting in a document. I will review it, and I will answer those questions. So I categorized a few things here just for what's for everybody to do, okay? So first, I want to talk about for competitions. Competition event organizers, the folks who owns the competition, they organize the competitions. And here I list a few things that I truly, from the bottom of my heart, especially the competition are new ones are coming up, and you wanted to put your foot into the arena. You think there is a money to be made. You think could be a very lucrative in your opinion. My advice, this is to you, seriously, from bottom of my heart, from one professional to another, from somebody who has learned this in a hard way, for somebody who has seen it, and I've seen people rise and fall, and this is my opinion, okay? So this is nothing else but just a suggestion. Number one, for the competition organizers, number one, this is not to do it, okay? This thing's not to do. Number one is not to approach, don't approach to school for their registrations. Don't approach them, says, I'd like to have your support. I want you to participate in my competition. And you can have a lunch, have a dinner, what have you. You meet with the director. You say, I would like to invite your school to come. I'd like to have your support to be a part of this competition. And your competition can elevate the level of my competition so much, and it will be my honor to have your students in my competition. Did you hear what I just said? Don't do it. I give you an honest opinion, don't do it, because that reflects on something. There's consequences on what you just said, right? So you can say something, you can say something, public, not individual schools. This is something you can say in public. This is what marketing is all about. This is where social media is all about. This is what I am doing now. This is where you present yourself. You present a case to the public. And you present to them why my competition is compelling, why you need to participate in my competition. But if you approach to individual schools, it becomes something else. Okay? That number one, the conversation I just described, I firmly advise you not to engage. Okay, don't do it. And then that part is that the one thing you absolutely should not do is a promise of something in return. Let's just say, if you participate in this competition, you come with 20 students, and there will be a percentage of their registration fee washed back to you. It's called kickbacks, and that's on the back of who? Your students, the school students, the families. Family is supposed to pay $1,000, let's say, for this competition, and I give you $150 back to you as some kind of kickback and reward. Not ethical. You shouldn't be doing this. Okay, you shouldn't be doing this. You want to present yourself a great competition and not try to do like a commission. Because everything you're doing now, everybody benefits because your competition benefits from the registration, from the family, from the students. And the school benefit from the kickback, whatever that there might be back to them, and some kind of implied favoritism. Implied, right? They're never going to say, maybe I could be wrong. They're never going to say you're going to get so many gold. They're never going to say it, but it's implied. If I supply 20 students or 30 students to your competition, I expect something. That expectation, you open the door for that expectation. Because when that 30 students all get, just like at the other school, all the gold went to one school, how that's going to work? That's mathematically doesn't work. But you have to understand, if all the gold will go to one school, that means there's other schools doesn't get anything. They pay the same tuition, right? They pay the same thing. So you say, well, this is merit-based. This is absolutely fair because that's what judges say so. Great. If you made that claim, great. And you show the data, show the score sheet to make me convinced that actually every single judge to believe that all the gold should belong to one group, particular group of students. It doesn't work, mathematically doesn't work. So that's no. Second, don't surround yourself with only few schools. Only few schools. And to ensure a bare minimum of registration, right? So you go to these few schools, you say, as long as I got this number covered, I need 100 students. They say, I need 100 to cover all my costs. So I'm just gonna go to these few schools, get the commitment from them, and then I have a financial safety, I have a base for me to conduct my business. So if you do this, if you just approach these 3 schools, 4 schools, if they become your base, if each school committed to whatever the student that they submitted to, like 30 students, each school come to you, and that particular competition looks like a school recital of that school, of that 4 studios. So if I don't belong to that 4 studios, if I don't belong to those schools, how would I feel? I'm going there, wait a minute, I'm the only one from the 5th school that does not belong to that 4th school. How would I feel about it? So after a while, what's eroding inside your organization is you're very quickly being labeled as a puppet, as a proxy for those schools, either for them to feel wonderful, for those families to feel wonderful about, we got another gold, and we got another set of scholarships. But what's eroding is public trust. Because anybody can have a pair of eyes looking at it, and I open the program, and all I see is one school. Next page, all I see is another school. So while you're ensuring a guaranteed registration, enrollment, and your income, and you create a financial safety for your operation, you alienate yourself from the public. So as a competition, it's not supposed to be behaving this way. It should just be in the middle. You should be neutral. You should be neutral and market your event, market your competition fairly and professionally with the social media. Like, what are we doing here? Like what I've been doing with my just present your case to see. I'm going to promise you this is going to be a great experience for you. In the meantime, work on your things to make sure everybody have a good experience. And stop doing all those little things. Because eventually, it's going to come back at you. Eventually. So another advice I want to give you is, it truly takes a lifetime. I think this could apply to everything, everyone. It takes a lifetime to build a reputation, to build a trust. It takes a long time. And I remember the very dear person of mine and told me a story and basically said that, somebody asked somebody how, if I done something, how can I create my reputation back and everything. And this person simply brought this person to the very top of the building and along with a pillow, like a feather inside the pillow. And there's a way, and he said, there's a way. And you open this pillow, and he opened his pillow, and he did this to the pillow. All the feathers, thousands, millions of the feather flew everywhere in the wind. He says, well, until you get all those little pieces back, you have to get all those little pieces back. So it takes lifetime to create a reputation, and it takes so little to be eroded, to be destroyed. So we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have done things that we're not so proud of, like including myself. And I have engaged in the competition. And what I look back is I should not have done that. One time I should not have done that. And tremendous pressure. And I should not have done that. And I learned my lesson. That's why I am here today. Like, I am here to truly have an open posture. I can truly talk about it just because I am not going to allow my business to be eroded, to be compromised in those things. It could be compromised in many other sectors. That's why we wanted to be better. That's why we created a new scoring system. And I think it's going to improve the situation. I think it's going to improve the transparency, the openness, the fairness of the competition. I spent a lot of time yesterday, the whole live stream talking about the difference between gymnastic scoring system and the dance scoring system. And I'm talking about, and I'm so grateful, this gymnastic jury member and actually described a little bit of the difference between how gymnastics scoring compared to the ballet competition. And basically, we have no structure, we have no base, we have no rules. We're like a free fall. Anybody can turn overnight, become a jury member. But in gymnastics, it's actually you have to be qualified, you have to be educated, you have to understand that is a set of rules that everybody have to obey, have to be follow, and after a while you have to be re-certified to become a jury member again. So everything I just described right here, I like to somehow bring some of that professionalism, to bring some of this conduct, some of the practice into a ballet competition. And who is going to be the one has the heart and the courage to do it? Organizers themselves. So this is for the young competition always want to coming up. Please make sure that does not happen, and please make sure that you are in the space that you can make a big difference. That's just from my bottom of my heart, because I'm trying to do my very best. Now, this is for the school, for the schools, okay? This might be a little bit harsh, but you know what? It's okay. This is from one teacher to another. This is from one director to another, okay? So it's okay. And I am on your side as well because you're literally my colleague, school directors, school owners. First, my advice to you is be kind, be kind. Don't bully your own family. Don't bully your own students, their own people who support you, who trust you, who give you their money and time. Don't bully them. They're the last people you need to bully. They are the last people you need to harass because they are literally supporting everything that you have. Okay? Love them, care for them, support them, trust them, be kind. That's my number one advice. Number two, don't use them as a tool or leverage for personal gain or other alliance that students benefit are not a part of it. So I want to say, students, I want to reiterate, students are not a part of this. They are not a part of this benefiting group of people from your alliance to certain organizations, certain people. And worst of all, don't use students as a leverage, as a tool for your personal gain. Don't flood to one group, one competition, say, I'm going to supply you this group of students so you can be financially sound of your competition, but in return, I want this, this, and that. You cannot be doing that. It's not right. And even if you do it, you cannot say that's right. It's because it's not. And eventually it's going to caught up because the family, you cannot say you're not allowed to go to DUCON. Offer them no reason, just because I promised certain people that you will have all my students to go to your competition. That's what I meant by using students as tool or as leverage for personal gain. Don't force your students to do or not to do certain things. Don't force them to participate in something, not to participate in something. And imply some kind of punishment, some kind of consequences if they don't follow your rules. So this is go back to the very beginning. You have to be kind. Don't bully people. Don't harass your own people. So if they don't do what you said, they don't follow your rules, they don't follow your direction, there's some kind of implied, some kind of punishment, some kind of consequences. Because this is what I want to say to family. Family members, they're not that powerful. They're not. They're just ballet schools. That's it. They want you to feel this way. If anybody wants you to feel they're more powerful, they have some kind of impact on your child's future, you have the right, the families, the mothers, the moms, the fathers, you have the right to say no to it. You say, you don't have that kind of power over me and my child and my decision making of what's best for my child, for my family. Nobody has that kind of power except you, because you know your family the best. If the students is being harassed or some kind of implied the consequences, you have to leave the school today, immediately, because they're not going to change. They're not going to change. And the last thing you wanted to do is subject your family, your child, into some kind of abuse situation, and you think it's okay with it. It's not okay with it. And the people that abuse it, they don't change, because so many people allowed that to happen. School should, I believe, everything you do, I say here, I will do it. That's my promise, I will do it. Always act in the benefit of the students. You should, as a school, because your school, your teachers, that's your basic ethic duty. Basic ethic duty. And a basic professional conduct as an educator, especially when we work with children. I always have the most respect for child education, children, because what you teach them, I still remember my kindergarten teacher, I still remember. And I still remember what she looked like. She played that instrument like this. I remember vividly, kind, beautiful. And after I come to America for many years, I went back, my mom actually took me to see her. Wonderful. So if you're a young child educator, your responsibility is much greater because children are like a sponge, like I said before. Everything that surrounds them, they can feel it. They can feel the energy. They hear what you said. They see what you do. They're like a sponge without filter. They don't have filter. They don't have the life experience allow them to see through things or put the things away. They don't have that kind of ability. So if I think my child has any chance to be in an environment filled with that stuff, I will take her out of there. So for school, always act the best benefit of the students, and that's the basic ethical duty as an educator and the basic professional conduct as an educator. So that's how I believe. For the family, this is my advice to you. If you don't feel that the school acts in the best interest of your child, leave. If you think the school is not looking out for my child and they're in for something else, if they're in it for themselves or they're using my child, they're using my what have you, you don't have to be there because there's tons of school out there that are care and kind. If you worry your child might experience some kind of punishment, some kind of bullying situation from the teachers not treating them kindly, leave. If you feel your child is being unfairly treated at the competition, you feel this competition is rigged, stop participating. Because that competition is already done something to their reputation, and you choose take your business elsewhere. So I talked about the gut feelings. The gut feeling is very important. If you feel something that it's not being done correctly, most likely it's not. Most likely, actually, the situation, the reality is most likely is much worse than you think it is. That's just how I feel about it. If the basic question you have are not being answered professionally, or you're being treated badly just because I raise a question, or categorized as a troublemaker, you have to leave. If you ask a basic question, say, well, why this thing's being done this way? Why cannot do this? If they treat you badly and act unprofessional, they're not going to change. That's the thing. They're not going to change. If it's a behavioral issue and there's a client, if you're their client, if this is a situation, if you go to Starbucks, if you've been treated badly with a cup of coffee, ask for a cup of coffee, if the response is terrible, guess what? There will be a problem. So this is just for a cup of coffee. Can you imagine you're talking about your child's time and energy, your child's experience that might impact her future outlook on her life and her career? Guess what? I'm okay if I go buy a cup of coffee, they treat me badly, I'm okay. I'll take the coffee, okay, maybe she's in a bad mood or he's in a bad mood, it's okay. But guess what? If it's your daughter or your son's time 3-4 times a week over there and they're being bullied and you ask question why and they treat you like some kind of no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for me. Don't ever feel powerless or being powerless or being trouble just because ask anything or anyone or fear of being blacklisted, right? So don't ever have fearful of that. Don't ever feel powerless in front of something. You have choice. You have the power to make a differences. Remember, you have the basic right as a consumer to be respected and treated with transparency. You do. You do. We said this before. If you go there to buy something and there is a fair professional exchange is expected. And in all situations, either you go to a ballet school or you participate in a competition, it's absolutely expected. It should be. you should be treated professionally, and there should be a sense of transparency in the process. So this is what I promise to do. This is what I promise to do. I promise I will never offer kickbacks. I will never offer school money as kickback because you participate. The group rate is open. I will never approach you, offer you certain things. We have a group rate, right? This is just like a consumer in anything. The group rate is for the students to have this kind of advantage, for the family to have the discount. If the school participate with a certain amount of students, they get a group rate. The difference is the benefit if belong to the family. The discount belong to the family, not the school. So I will never be the DUCON, DUCOMPETE will never be a proxy or puppet of any school, any organization. That's my promise. I would never offer students a gold medal or anything just because his or her affiliation with someone or some organization. I'm always on the side of fairness and transparency. If I can open, it's like open book. That's why we have an open scoring system that we're so excited about introduced to the public. And for the Grand Prix, we are still considering it's a weighted opinion from the public, from the general public, that I want the public have a voice to say who is going to, their opinion also counts as a weighted. It is not 100%, it's a weighted, because not everybody in public the ballet professionals. So we still want a jury member to take the precedent in addressing the students' evaluation and assessment. But public also should have a voice in who they think they should win the Grand Prix. I'm so excited about this kind of things because this is only going to make the ballet competition accessible and fun and for everybody to take, and not just the benefit of a few. I will always conduct ourselves in the very best interest of the students and the educational needs. That's why we prolong DUCON and DUCOMPETE for months. Because as soon as you sign up, your DUCON experience with us starts right away. Right away. You have 10, we offer you 10 free classes with me. I have classes Tuesday and Thursday evenings in Singapore time and Asia time. And for you to participate, start your training with me right away. And I use Loom to create a personalized variation feedback video specifically just for you. And I write all my feedback, just like in the competitions, and the suggestions and all my corrections in everything, including your music choices, including your costume, including everything. And this is, again, it's the best interest and the benefit of the students and the family, and the growth matters most to me for DUCON and DUCOMPETE. So let me go to some questions here. I got a lot. Let me just go through some right here. So do you have any tips for auditioning for National Ballet of Canada? You're talking about the school, I assume. It's a beautiful school, and I love that school. And I think it's always, you know, those schools always, one thing that I think, I'm not only talking about National Ballet of Canada, I think if anything audition, one of the things my experience tells me that it's important. I just talk about this today with my students. It is not always, I have to say this again and again, it's not always how brilliant you are as a dancer, how phenomenal, how incredible you are with all the jumps and turns. It's actually the ability to listen, the ability to absorb information and corrections, and the ability to follow the instructions. Believe it or not, that to me, I think to many people can echo in what I said. It's important just to have the organization's skill at the audition to listen to instructions, to do exactly what teacher asking for, and the ability to present your training, to present your professionalism, to present your ability in a very organized way. Small things, when teacher's talking, when teacher's giving instructions, eye contact. Just knock your head like this. Just showing that you are interested, showing that you are paying attention, showing that you're committed that moment to be present, to be absolutely present. That posture is so important. So we talk about this again in my other opportunities. It's your disposition. It's your posturing. It's your mindset. So there was an interview, the interview with a very famous coach, a football coach. And somebody said, well, what makes you choose certain player to play at the moment? You know, there's some players play all the time, and certain players always sit there. They're a part of the team, but they never get to play. They play 2 minutes and then come back. So they ask you, so you look over there, what do you see? What the behavior tell you they're ready? Their body language, he said. It's the body language, the readiness, the presence. So the body language, I guess he's talking about if somebody have their arm crossed, just sitting there like this, or somebody like this. You see, two body language, one is here, one's here. So this is the same thing in the classroom. If I see students kind of sitting in a bar like this and then not kind of looking at me when I demonstrate and not following my instructions and not really doing exactly what I'm asking for in the combination, that's the mindset. That is going to set her or him back. That person could be a really great dancer. It could be beautiful feet, but to me, it's questionable. Seriously, it's questionable because I'm questioning the mindset. I'm questioning the body language. I'm questioning the presence. If this person has what it takes for a prolonged period of time. So you're asking me what is the tips for auditioning? Be present. Be there. 100% of the time, look at the teachers. Understand the information that he or she is presenting. Learn the combination thoroughly. Don't make mistakes repeatedly, especially if they tell you this, don't do it. Pay attention to the tips, to the correction that's been given to other students. You take the correction. I always love that type of students. If I give one student correction, actually the student next to that student did it better. I love that. And I always, if I teach a big master class, I can always, within 5 minutes, I always feel the energy of one or two particular students with me because I can feel the energy looking at me. So it's your body language. And that goes a very, very long way. Do you have any tips for my first time doing YGP? Enjoy. You go in there, you learn. You don't just learn from a master class, you learn from your peers. I think YGP is truly a learning experience for everybody, including teachers, family, parents, students, absolutely a learning experience. The minute you walk in the building, you're learning. Like I go there, I see teachers giving corrections. I see teachers, how they conduct themselves with the students. I learn. So treat your first YGP experience as a learning experience, right? You go there, I always say, people don't believe me, I always say that, but it's true. You arrived there, you're already a winner. You are. You work so hard, you arrive there, you arrive on that stage with all your peers, you've been talked to by the stage manager, you're ready to go, you arrived, you're already a winner. Enjoy, right? Learn something from it. Whatever happened on that stage, it could be great. Something happened on that stage. You have done something you never did before. I see when I judge, I always see students does that triple pirouette, and she or he never really expected because I can see the facial expression. They just happy at that moment. It's like happiest person on earth, and I totally get it because once upon a time I was a student myself. And also, you should learn from your disappointment. If something did not go well under the circumstance because of nerve, pressure, unfamiliar surroundings, what have you, that's also a learning opportunity for us to grow. So first, I want to say enjoy and be present and treat your first experience as a learning experience, and just to congratulate yourself that as a winner for just to show up, for just to be there. So this how many times / hours is ideal to practice a variation in a day, and how many times per week? Well, I suggest this is a really age, depends on your age. I do believe if you are serious about what you're doing, if you're 12 years up, I do believe you have to be in that studio 5 to 6 days a week. That's how I feel about it. And this is certainly, my girls been doing that literally all their lives. So when they became, their schedule, they're just there. It could be, one day could be off day. One day could be just a jazz class day without a ballet class. But I do believe ballet class, technique class, in my opinion, should be every day. My girls go there Saturdays, Monday through Saturday. That's 6 days a week. They might take a 1 day off. It's like one of those, not taking a day off, but taking a little day off from ballet class or rehearsals. But they're in the ballet class every day for years. So the ballet class, the technique class really is a foundation for everything. So that to me is the most important component in improving yourself technically.
So she's 38.
38 adult student.
Yeah.
Well, adult students, okay, I see. How many hours to participate in it and how many times? If you're adult student, I think adult student, it depends. There is a balance. There should be a balance. It have everything to do with your condition, your body, and how long you've been participating in this. I've seen adult students in ballet class 3 days a week, 3 times a week. It's a part of their life. It's just like people go to gym, people go to yoga class, people go meditate, they go to take a ballet class. It's equivalent. The activity is equivalent to people go to gym or go to swim or play tennis. For them, just to go to ballet class, it's a part of their lives. So that, or once a week, I do believe you have to, if you want to improve, if you wanted to learn something, and you have a profound experience with ballet lessons, I suggest you at least once a week, at least, for your body to have the continuation in sense of training, at least. Twice a week is ideal. Should we put pointe shoes on and practice with the reformer? The reformer you're talking about is like a Pilates type of reformer with the pointe shoes. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. I think this question is really for your Pilates instructors, and if they see there's a particular reason for it. And I can see maybe plie releve. I can see that plie releve to train the resistance, like laying like this, you plie, because we normally do plie and push and jump like this. So if they ask you to do plie and releve on point, and that might work. But I think that might work. I've never seen it, but if it's helping you, I don't see anything wrong with it. If as long as your instructor and has approved that, you have to listen to your Pilates instructors. I've noticed that YGP many contestants compete in 2 to 3 locations in the same season. What is the reason for that? Well, you know what, there's a profound reason for this, because think about it. If the maximum variation length of 2.5 minutes, 2 minute 30 seconds is the longest that you can participate in a classical variation. Okay, most classical variation is within that time span. So if you compete 2 variations, combined together is 5 minutes total time on that stage. If you compete 2 variations, 5 minutes. Okay. So 5 minutes on stage, literally it's a blink eye, 5 minutes. Something can happen really great, something can mishap. So for a professional ballet company, the time they spend to be quote unquote comfortable on stage, they have spacing, they have a tech rehearsal, run-throughs on stage, and they have a dress rehearsal before they see the audience. They have all those things in place before they see the audience to ensure what? To ensure their confidence, to ensure their comfort, to ensure that there is no surprise on stage of anything. The technique, because the lights may shine you in different way, the wings may come out a little bit further, different stage, everything. So even for professional adults, professional ballet dancers, it needs this many engagement for them to just feel comfortable with a performance, not a competition. So for a student, they could very well feel that one location is not enough for me to show the best, right? So I do this location, I get the feedback from the jury member, and guess what? I'm gonna show up to another location to do the same variation to see how that play out. And it's the same concept. If they go to third place, to hoping that maybe they get better score, hoping they get better placement. Now, knowing if they already got placed, if they already got, let's say, third place, maybe they want to get the second or first place, and that's why they go to different places, or they want to get invited to the finals. They did not, perhaps they were in first place, but they didn't get invited to the finals. So there is a reason for that, right? There is a reason for that. And it's a very consuming time and energy, but I do see reason for that, yes? Please give me any tips on period on dedans. You know, it's a period on dedans is a very difficult turn. It's a lot more awkward than on dehors turn. On dehors turn it's a lot easier for us to access the speed and energy. On dedans turn somehow it's a bit awkward. That is why you can never turn as many on dedans in normal circumstances. Now, I see dancers stars in the past that have turned, the male have turned 7, 8, 9 on dedans turns. Very unusual, but normally people don't turn as many on dedans compared to on dehors. There's a reason why, because it's difficult to access the energy that way. And however, my tips to that is you should always get the preparation correct, get the preparation perfect, and then that preparation, the coordination of the position, the fourth position, either you bring the back leg directly to retirate or brush to the side to retirate. That situation needs to be practiced on the bar, needs to be practiced. So, Mr. Josh, can you help me? Because I just wanted for them to see it. So this is my way to get that coordination correctly. Let's say that's your front. That's your front. The most important part is have your preparation like this in relationship to the bar like this, right? So in the beginning, I prefer brush to the side. I prefer just because structurally give you a impetus to bring the leg back. But because what's hard for the on-dedans turn is the pathway for this back leg to go to the front, retirate to the front, this pathway is not very clear in terms of access energy. That's why I prefer this leg to go to à la seconde. Now, This is easier for me to bring this foot in like this, underneath me. Like this. Again, second in. You see my arm? I go second in. Now, I need the bar for me to practice this. Nobody can skip this process. So we should, as teachers, we should never teach a turn in the center right away. Even on the or on the down. Same thing. Now, after a while, you let this hand go. You go 1 and 2. So you go second in. Again, you do arm, second in. Look at this. So the whole purpose of that is get the coordination from the preparation to retiré. And after a while, actually you can do a quarter of it. You can second to quarter. So it's not just on top of the midpoint. You can second to. So if the wall is not there, so for you to, for the sensation of this foot come into the retiré faster. That's the only way to gather the energy because you feel like only on turn. I have no speed, I have no energy. Where the energy come from? This foot. That's the energy source. Along with the plie, supporting it from plie to demi-point. So it's a hard turn. And we needed to practice on the bar first to get the coordination going. If you go to my YouTube channel, we talk about this. There's quite a few videos that I described to turn and the exercises that you have. I provided. It's in the YouTube channel. Please visit. There's a lot of information there. It's very, very rich information in my YouTube channel. And this question says, is it normal when the scoring among the judges are not aligned from poor to excellent? Which one should we listen to then? Ask as a parent. Well, they should be, because jury member, you have to understand, they all have a different angle to look at it one dance. And that's why we have multiple jury members. There's a reason for it, right? YGP will have 4 and 5. We'll sit together. We all have different education. We had a different artistic career, and we have all different beliefs. And that this a basket of different opinion forms a collective information. That's why it's very rich. It's not like you needed to listen to one person, not to listen to the other. I do believe that all of their comments are valuable. Even the person said it's very poor to me. This performance is very poor. This is not good. And while saying this, but what's following to that is the reason why I don't think this is good performance. That's important. I cannot give people a score. It's like, this is terrible. But without giving a reason. It could be a very simple reason. It could be like, you need to work on your turned out. Your musicality was way off. It could be just that. To the point where the jury member, it affected the jury member so much because it's so non-musical that she or he decided to give a poor rating. Right? So there's a reason for it. So we cannot get bothered by why somebody look at me. I explained this earlier. Why somebody look at the same variation? Somebody gave my student 94. Somebody only gave 89. You know what I mean? Like this differentiation can be pretty severe. I have to tell you, it could be pretty severe. So that's why I think that as long as they provide a reason, it can all be a good learning experience. That's just how I feel about it. If somebody is that bothered by whatever that I did, guess what? We have to improve. If there's one person feel this way about my dancing, just like my student, sickle foot, and I was horrified. As a teacher, I was like, why did I not see it? the truth, I saw it and I was focusing on other things. But this was enough for this particular jury member to write it down, and I got to fix it. So there's a reason, there is a benefit of the score, and I think the feedback is important. So you should listen to everybody, right? So you should not, poor and excellent. That's a pretty big difference. But I particularly like to know the person rate, your dancer poor. What is the reason behind it? How can a child debut a variation at a big competition without first performing it in a smaller stage? So you're talking about smaller stage. You're talking about in reputation as a competition or actual stage. I do believe you're talking about the size of the competition, right? Correct. So I think I'm right. So you're talking about the size of the competition, or you're talking about the smaller stage. Let me just think. I think you're talking about the size of the competition, and you know what? There's things we can. That's what DUCON has a mock competition. Seriously, I'm very glad you asked this question. I also share these issues right here, because if this is her very first competition, and from studio environment directly step onto a professional stage, I have seen this before. It could be like it could be vast. This stage could be incredibly in size, could be incredibly intimidating to that student. And not just the space, it's the environment. It's being evaluated. Sometimes they have a lighting. You can even see the jury member sitting over there. So one competition, I was like, why everybody's so far back? Just because they can see us. We're like right at the tip of the stage. And all this, students need a little bit of experience before they step into a bigger competition like this. So there's two ways we can do this. One is actually to go to a smaller competition, more regional competition. So let her, like even professional company, I used to work for Washington Ballet. We used to go to a local county, like a local smaller venue. I mean, for that location, I mean, the citizens over there are happy we're there. We're performing actually in the high school. The purpose for Washington Ballet is get the issues out. Right? They don't want to have the issue to be presented on Kennedy Center stage. They want to get those issues out in like a Hartford County Community College stage. So they have another week when they go back to fix those issues. And for the dancers, is an opportunity for them to feel the stage and feel their role, and get used to the role, and get used to being on stage with a particular new production. So can you imagine, this is the process for a professional company. Can you imagine for a young child debuting her first variation? We have to give her a somewhat, it's like a dress rehearsal type of experience before she goes out there. That's what DUCON has mock competition. Mock competition is that you do perform in front of audience. In this particular, it could be family and friends, and you perform in front a group of teachers, like their teacher, and you're in a costume, and it's somewhat a performing experience, feeling, but not the real competition. That's what we call a mock competition. It's like a mock trial. It's like students pretend to be lawyers, defendant, and jury member and judge. And in this particular case, we pretend to be like a competition, but it's not. So we built all that within DUCON and DUCOMPETE, so the students does not have that first time performing fear. So if you don't have that kind of experience or that kind of opportunity to do what I just described, you can, in the studio, you can what we used to call the open rehearsals. You can actually invite audience. In this case, you can invite your sisters, your brothers, your family member to sit in the studio for the students to perform that particular variation in front of an audience member. Now remember, their mindset how they engage their body is completely different. Even if you just put 2 people in front of them as audience member. So if you put 20 people in front of them as audience, we call it open rehearsal. This is a really great way for them to feel how they manage nerve, how they manage adrenaline, how they manage their mistakes on stage. When something happens, what do you do? That's a great way. In fact, we call it to expose some issues. So what can we do with that? We can fix it. So we don't want those issues to be surfaced, to be presented at a bigger competition. So create some cushion, create some experience so they can perform better and get their nerves out. Even like a wedding, have a dress rehearsals. How to get motivated when coaches don't take you very seriously than others? It can be because of your age, older than others. No, I don't think age, I don't know that age have anything to do with it. I do believe, I think we always needed to look ourselves, and I always believe that. I always like to say, where can we improve ourselves? And we have to investigate why the coaches don't take you very seriously. What are the things that perhaps it could be just one thing, one habit or 2 that you're doing. Could be. I haven't seen you. I don't know the circumstances at all. One thing for coaches not to take you seriously, one thing you can do to make your teacher don't pay attention to you is you don't fix your corrections. You don't take their correction seriously to a point when you pass the threshold. Teachers have a tendency just to give up because they don't think you care. What is the one thing the students can do to show their care, to show their commitment and their professionalism and their discipline in the classroom? What is it? One thing that you can do is you do everything possible to fix the correction the teacher giving to you. It could be something you don't believe it exists. It does. Otherwise, your teacher won't bring it to you. So when they say something to you, let's just take whether, do I have that issue out of equation? Yes, you do. Otherwise, your teacher wouldn't say that to you. Whatever that might be, even if so unheard of or you don't think it exists or you don't understand, you have to do everything possible to show the teacher you care about their corrections, to show the teacher actually you're making the best effort to do what they're telling you to do. It could be anything. It could be a foot, shape of the foot. It could be the way you do plie. It could be the way you put your head. It could be the way you engage your core. It could be anything. So one thing you can do to earn their respect and to continue to get the attention is do the best you can, do your best effort to follow the instructions and to do their corrections. And on the other hand, teachers lose interest if they see their corrections not being taken seriously and disregarded or nothing changes. So it could be in that particular area, it could be. So let's see, look at it to see if that's the case. Or you can have a conversation with your teacher, says, why you don't take me seriously? It's like, I'm trying very hard, I'm doing everything possible, but you don't ever pay attention to me. Having this conversation could be difficult because you might not like what teacher tell you, but I think before that, let's just do your best to listen to the instructions they're giving to you. How do you deal with the discipline with younger students and the teaching dance and the theater etiquette? Well, to me, again, transparency. So the etiquette itself, I think every school, every teacher, you should have your own set of rules. This is something I don't expect happen in my studio, right? I think studio owners should have a clear policy, your student, let's say, conduct. right? So there's a clear things that we'll not tolerate. Perhaps it could be anything. Looking at your phone, chatting, talking, laughing, in and out of studio, go to the bathroom without telling, and all sorts of things I think are common, regarded as not being disciplined in the studio. So instead of waiting for those things to happen, then we fix it. I always like to have a set of policies. So policy is really great to support your school and to support the teachers to conduct their business. If the policy doesn't exist from the school level, each teacher have a responsibility to communicate with your students at the very beginning, the very first class, saying that this is something that I expect from you. Let's, for example, when I talk, I expect nobody talks. When I talk, I expect everybody stop their doing, look at me, not back to me. And I don't want to see the chit-chat, the talk, the little jokes among yourself when in my class. I want everybody focused in my class. If you leave the classroom, you have to ask permission and then tell me why you need to leave. When you come back, you have to ask permission to come back. You have to sit at the door, ask permission to come back. And if you're late, you cannot just walk in running to your space. You have to, at the door, waiting for everything to class exercise to finish, and your teacher give you okay, and you come into the studio. And I think the more specific, the easier for everyone. I believe students behave the best. Students at most at ease is there's a clear expectation of what should happen, what should not happen. In that case, I think everybody is at ease. It is making teachers very frustrated is the things, and when you think this kind of things shouldn't happen, and that just in your opinion, in your mind, this type of things, let's say students should not be talking when I'm talking. Absolutely, you are right. You are right. But students, if you don't communicate with that, they don't know that. Perhaps their other teacher allowed this to happen, or the student they were with this to comment. Or students go to their phone, go drink the water, open their phone, and start texting in the middle of the class. To you, it's horrifying, right? To you, this is absolutely unacceptable. But we still owe students an opportunity of communicating. Then you said, well, should they know that? You know what? No, they don't know. That's why I say communication is very important. And to some families, my mom said, well, what's the big deal? Well, it is the big deal. That's why the communication is important. This is our policy. So, yeah, just teach. I think teach etiquette is a part of teaching, just like how important when teach plié and tendu, we have to teach them. And you know, sometimes students, when you give corrections, when you give instructions, they back to you. You know, it's like you don't understand how is that. It's like even in normal circumstances, not even in the ballet school, it's like even normal when somebody talking to you, you have to look at them. But in some situations, students, for various reasons, they think that's okay. And it's up to us to not to get upset about it and just talk about it. As a 17-year-old landing a contract mid-season in a major European ballet company, how do I deal with envy from guys being paid the same but 5 years older and being 2 years younger than their junior company? Wait a minute, let me say this. As a 17-year-old, you land a contract in mid-season in a major European ballet company. Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations. That's a big deal. So you're 17, you're winning a contract. Normally 17, they will make you go through the hoops and do all kinds of dance, like nowadays, the second company, the studio company, the trainee, the whole thing. But if this is a real like European paid company member, How do I feel about it? And I want to congratulate to you. Your teacher have done a great job. Wonderful. How do you supposed to deal with envy from guys being paid the same but years older? You don't have to deal with anything. You don't have to deal with envy. You don't. You're there to work. Everybody understand that. You're there just to do your best like everyone else. You are landing that contract. It's not because of anything, because you're good, because you earned it. Because they saw something in you, they want to give you this contract. They saw phenomenal potential in you. They see you working in the company, thriving. And that's all there is to it. A young student, 17-year-old, a professional company scene can be very overwhelming. I can tell you right now, it can be very overwhelming. It's not just in a ballet class. It's not just a rehearsal, but it's in a private settings. A lot of noise, a lot of talk, a lot of posturing, a lot of everything. So for you, remember, you're there to work. You're there to learn. You're not there to get distracted. It will be distractions from everything. Okay, there will be envy. There will be plenty of it. If you tell me that you're already making same amount of money to guys much older than you and then being 2 years younger than, no, you do it to work. You do the best every day. And you're looking for the next level in the company. You're looking for the next opportunity to work with the choreographer. That's what you're there for. I mean, don't really get bothered, okay? Don't be. You get bothered because you let it, because you allowed it. So don't allow this kind of things to interfere your presence and your opportunities. So again, congratulations, and moving forward, go move on. As an instructor, when you have a student that is more advanced than her age group, okay, do you keep her in the class or do you move her to a more advanced class with older dancers? Well, okay, age is a factor in this. Sometimes we see students younger, let's say they're 12, she's 12, but she's better than my advanced students. She's better than the 16-year-old, the 17-year-old. Now her body is better, her technique is better, that does not mean her mind is. So let's keep that in mind. It's not just the technique matters, her maturity, it all needs to be a part of it. So if you tell me she's very mature, she has a very good disposition, she acts very professional, she can handle this type of pressure. So what she's going to experience is the pressure, just like the student who I described earlier, went to a big European company, 17 years old. It's not her technique or his technique at stake this moment. There's not a problem there. It's the maturity, it's the mindset, it's the ability to control the pressure, it's the ability to continue to thrive with all this noises, distraction. So if this student has the mindset, has the discipline to move on with the older group, and I say go ahead. But that age cannot be too big. It cannot be too big. You know, an 11-year-old cannot be with a 15-year-old. That somehow, a 12, 15 is one thing. Somehow, 11 and 15 is a whole other situation. There's only 1 year in between, but that's a big deal. Maybe in my mind, it's always 12, 14, it's junior. 11 is before junior in the competition scene. But that age gap is there for a reason. Why 12-year-old is okay with 15, 11 is not. I just don't think it's appropriate. It's too big of age gap. As an instructor, when do you have a student? Okay, we got this one. So my studio doesn't teach proper technique, but I want to become a professional ballerina. I'm scared to move studios, but scared if I don't, I will fall behind. What should I do? Well, I don't understand when you say your studio does not teach technique, does not teach proper technique. So let's just we have to scrutinize this proper a little bit. Because some studios are, let's say the ballet company, the ballet schools, they're ballet teachers, they have ballet classes in their system. It is there, the opportunity to take ballet classes there, the school structure that way. But if this school is a competition school, they have very different emphasis, they have a very different focus. They normally treat the technique class as a warm-up. Right? I'm not here to judge right or wrong. I'm just telling you what I think the difference between schools. If this school is like a competition school, their emphasis is not technique, although a lot of technique is involved, but they are much more just to learn the routine. That's my understanding of it. They will learn the routine like in the fall, even the late summer, they honed in on the routine. They compete at a number or 1 or 2 or 3 dances throughout the year. That's a competition school. That's what they do. They focus on competition. So, if you feel what you want you want a basic, you want a fundamental technique, maybe it's a different school that you need to go to with the school aligned with what you need out of your technique. So I do believe there's choices. It should be. There should be choices there. You should be scared. There's nothing to be scared about. As a person starting ballet again at 18, at what point should I start the ballet class, pointe training? I've been in this class since August. The pointe thing is a whole other thing. The pointe thing is a whole other thing. I have a good training, like me personally, I know the ballet structure, I know everything, but if putting on a pair of pointe shoes, I don't have training for it. So the training itself for pointe needs to be on the backs of the fundamental ballet training. So to be completely honest, you are 18, you're as a person starting ballet, again, that's interesting you say again, so you do have ballet training, right? You do, so you took a couple years off, then you start at 18. So this is, how do you feel about it? How do you, there's specific things that you needed to ask yourself to do. For example, can you be on demi-pointe, balance on demi-pointe in, let's say, first position? Can you easily find your balance, find your structure, find your core and your back and your leg straight into the ground? Can you place properly your weight on demi-pointe, high demi-pointe? Like literally, if I push a little forward, it will be on full point. Are you at that level? Number one. Number two, are you on susu, fifth position? Can you be comfortably in fifth position, susu, in fifth? Comfortably in a very good structure and have a proper balance, let's say 30 seconds, let's say 4/8. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, just be there and balance without any hesitation, without a problem. Furthermore, can you be on demi-pointe in retiré position, perhaps on full 8 with no problem? And one more, can you do plié and do a proper sauté with a very, very strong leg, right? And can you be on, let's say, piqué arabesque in like a plié fondu to the back, to derriere at 45 degrees and supporting like the very high demi-pointe, your placement is very good and you can easily let the ball go. There is quite a few things that serves as benchmark to say whether you are ready or not. It is not something that we can just say it. Your body have to know it, right? So because the point is a safety thing, right? When you go up there, your entire body weight is on that foot. So your alignment and play a very big role into this. So you needed to, it's a systematic, quite a few things. You have to have a check mark, check them, and you pass. And I think then with the proper instruction and go slow, and you can start. Otherwise, you needed to work your way up to that moment before you can put your feet into the point shoes. Do you think it will ever be feasible for you to bring a master class to Western Canada? Would love my daughter to be able to attend in person. I love travel. I get this kind of request a lot. But really think about it. For me to bring a program there, there's quite a few things I needed to make sure happens, because I needed to make sure there is a structure to support me there. I need a local organization to support the logistical things. There is really a long list of things that needs to be done before I can just show up in Western Canada. So I think a lot of people, can you come to Mexico? Okay, I love to, but there should be a structure there for me to be there and to because I don't just go. I have a team. I have teachers. So it's a team to go there. I need to make sure there's proper support there. I'm going to Perth in July. I think it's Western Australia. And then there's a wonderful organization to hosting me there. So I feel very safe and I feel very secure. It's not safety. Safe means I know when I show up there, the studio will be there. There will be students, there are logistical things, the registration, it will be handled properly. Right? So that's my kind of a condition for me to actually put my physical body into any parts of the world. And but one thing you can do, you can come to me. We have DUCON all over the place, right? We have DUCON Winter coming up just right here for Western Canada. You can come to me easily, and we have DUCON Winter just outside of Washington, D.C. in late December. And in next year, in August, we have 1 week in California, 2 weeks here in Virginia. So maybe we can start with that first. Someone on Instagram asked about submitting a video of a solo to get evaluated and then gain valuable insight and feedback on it. Great. So Blueprint is a phenomenal thing that we invented. I'm so proud of this. So you send me a video. Yeah, you send me a video and I create a personalized video for you. And sometimes my feedback can ranging from 10 to 20 minutes long, depending things that I have to say. And I use Loom, the app. I use that. And it has been working really well, very, very efficient. And I also write up a report of how I feel about this variation and various details, including costume and everything else. So that is, so you get the link to, we call it Blueprint, the path to success. Actually, it takes me a long time to do it. Actually, it's not easy for me, but I think it's very helpful. How to properly get your turned out in first position and fifth position with hyperextended knees. Hyperextended knees, that thing itself, I can tell you, it's never really treated as an issue until recent years. It's never issue. It's not an issue. Hyperextended knees, the most important part is the proper engagement of your rotator, which is your bottom. That's what we call a rotator. So you have the rotator is responsible for turned out and creates what? Creates a support system. I call it like a backstop. So you have the tendency, hyperextended legs is sitting back on the heels, because when you stretch your knees, I have hyperextended legs. My heel is about that far apart. I needed to buy two heels that far apart in order for the back of my knees to touch each other. Otherwise, my knees bend, I feel bent. So the most important, in my opinion, to safely work with hyperextended legs. I see ballet dancers all over the world hyperextended legs because for ballet's eye it looks very beautiful because it's stretched very nicely. And you need to have proper muscular support to prevent to sit your leg on the heels. So the turnout is going to help you to present your leg push forward so you don't sit back on your heels. So this is something that my suggestion to you is find your turned out muscle, to find the access to your turned out to your muscle, so that you won't allow your heel sitting back to further aggravate the knee area of your leg. And a lot of floor exercise you can do. And now I would always suggest not only work on turned out, but work on the strength at the same time. So you have a strength to support the turned out, to support your hyperextended legs to moving forward properly. And I couldn't really give you any further until I see the legs, because every pair hyperextended legs different. They have everything to do with the placement of the hip, with placement of the tailbone. Sometimes they sweep back a little bit. They have an interior tilt like that. That's going to further aggravate the hyperextended the structure. So everything is, my go-to thing is engage your rotator to bring everything push forward so you're not sitting back on your heels. So he said, this person said that I recently stumbled across your channel and I loved your videos. Thank you so much. I did ballet for 13 years as a kid, had to stop, but never stopped loving it. Any advice on how to teach myself after a decade? The ballet thing, the teach self-study ballet, it's hard, I have to say. So you need a teacher. You need, I don't know your age. It could be, you needed to get yourself back in the studios. You needed to be a group of people have a similar experience of yours. You need a support. You need a proper instruction. You need a teacher to give you the combination, to give you the exercise, and they can see things that you're not able to see. You cannot see anything behind you. You can only feel, but sometimes you don't feel it. You need a teacher to give you instructions. So when you said if any advice on how to teach myself after a decade, I think maybe to get yourself back into the studio, and you can certainly look at the videos, right? You can certainly look, if you, the channel you're talking about is my YouTube channel, it's not just me in there. There's a lot of wonderful, wonderful teachers in my YouTube channel teaching their classes. You can we have full classes, hundreds of full classes. In addition to take class with a real in-person teacher, you can take those classes because we record all the live lessons, live stream classes, and a lot of classes I recorded during COVID. It's all in there. So that could be a very good supplemental thing for your teaching, but mainly I do believe you need to get yourself back into the studio, have a teacher as an instructor to make sure you're doing it safely. So this brings to our last question. I'm competing for the first time in spring. I'm 15, only started ballet 11 months ago. I got on point 2 months ago, so 11 months. So after study, like 9 months, you're on point, and I'm doing my Vivation, Don Quixote, third act, on point. On point, tips for turns on point. I can do a single on point, but I needed to do a double and land it very hard for me, landing very hard. I did competitive rock climbing, who already had a lot of strength. danced when I was like 7 and I was in Nutcracker. I'm in my dance studio, ballet company, and I dance 5 hours, 5 days a week. I think you started ballet 11 months ago. 11 months ago, and you got on point 2 months. That's very fast. I give you honest opinion. That's very, very fast. You must be very strong. That's very, very fast. And you doing Don Quixote third act, that variation, it's not easy. It's hard on point. So my concern here is the structure of the variation, because the safety is very important on point. As you know very well, the point shoes as though it have a mind of itself. So I would like to help you, but I can't, because I don't see how you did that. I don't see the problem with that double. How do you do that double pirouette? And how do you land? You know very well. In ballet, it's not about get up there, turn double, and then land. It's about how do you get up there. It's about the correctness of the preparation. It's about the shape of the turn. It's about when you turn, where's everything else? Where's your arm? Where's your leg? It's literally a million things. For you to start a training for 11 months, I just give you a mathematical thing so you understand what I'm talking about. Normally ballet training, real training, starts at 9 years old, 9 years. So for me to do a double, like a real ballet variation for male, I think a female works pretty much the same way. For me to do a male variation, I started 9 years old. I was not able to I wasn't allowed to learn a variation until I was 14. Now that's old school. That's old school. Okay, I was competing right away after learning it. Now, nowadays, let's say you start 9, right? You need about 2 years. You need really about 2 years of real good instruction, very good training, before you can do a variation on flat. Not on point, on flat, right? So then you can move on to do a variation on point. So I strongly suggest you should do a variation on flat first. And before you do a variation in a competition for the first time, on point, after you study ballet only 11 months. That to me, the time it just does not work. And I know you're strong, but rock climbing has a very different strength than ballet. But I'm sure the coordination the weight distribution, that will help you. But it's a long stretch to compare rock climbing skill to ballet skill. Maybe there's certain things, the core strength, I'm sure you're very strong. But on point, there's nothing you can rush. Even if with students with the perfect feet, with the perfect structure, nobody can skip the process. That's the thing. And nobody, the most talented gift body, cannot skip the process. So for me, you are skipping about quite a few years in here. I think for a student to dance that variation on point, need a very consistent weekly training for about 5 years. That's just my fair assessment. But again, you could be very special, but without seeing you, I couldn't really help you. But really get back to the bar and really do the variations and polish those specific things independently, not in the variation, independently. To make sure you can do a single pirouette, a double pirouette independently by yourself in the technique class first, before it can be accomplished in variation like a Don Quixote third act variation. Can teachers go to your workshop to watch you teach? If you bring students, you can. Yes, you can. If you bring students, you can. But I think if you come, I do believe we have a teachers workshop. You can, if you bring students, you can come for free because it's just a privacy issue that we have to respect. We cannot allow the teacher come in, just look at other students. You know, there is a privacy things that involved. But I do think we have teacher training workshop for that. So it's not just walking into the studio, but there's organized. The workshop, we have the teachers observe this class, and also at the end of the day, have the opportunity to talk with the teacher, talk to me and Mr. Ricardo, and we have a specific topic for each day at the end of each day. So that's is a workshop thing that we do. Yeah, so we will send you the link for the registration. It's very helpful because it's very popular, and you can watch what we teach in the real practice, then come back, learn about theory. That two things combined can be very helpful. But thank you though, I really appreciate it. How to solve sickle? Please give me tips for that. The sickling part, there's a wonderful thing called TheraBand. Actually, I have one here. Have you just researched called TheraBand? It's an elastic thing like that wide and pretty long. You can buy them the feet and buy the footage. So the TheraBand itself is creating the resistance for you to work the sickling part. It's not the fact. Most of the time, it's not the foot. It's permanently sickling. It is the muscle memory that you're sickled and you don't even know it. You think you're fine, but the reality you're sickled. So what we needed to do is train your body to recognize, to use the other side of that muscle, that foot, to always go there instead of here, right? So you're not knowing it. As look at me, oh my God, my foot's like this. You don't know it. So the idea is use TheraBand to waken up the other opposite side of muscle, so you're always aware what you're doing. Yeah, number one, that's a supplemental thing we can do, and there's tons of tips online. You can see it. The important part to solve this is battement tendu in ballet classes. For example, tendu front. We're supposed to, in the first position, let's say first position, you're supposed to lead the movement with your heel. If you do battement tendu every day correctly, lead the movement forward with your heel, that will solve the toes problem. So the interesting part about this is if we don't lead the tendu with the heel, you will lead with your toes. That's the sickling starts. There's no middle ground. We have to lead with your heels, right? What about tendu to the back? You have to lead the movement by what? Your toes. If you don't, the heel will go. The minute heel goes, your foot is sickled. So battement tendu is literally, it's like the medicine for all the illness. So ballet class, look at the mirror properly, okay? Don't tell the teacher, the Mr. Ducey tell me to look at the mirror. You have to look at your mirror properly, and you have to use mirror as a tool to help you solve those issues. It can be done. Another thing is aggravating sickling is on demi-point. When you go up to demi-point, if you so easily sit in the back of your ankle, that's where the muscle memory of sickle muscle memory develops. So make sure when you come up to demi-point, put your weight, do debate, a lot of teachers will put on 5 toes. I disagree. Put on the first 2 toes of your foot, because first 2 toes is aligned with the very top of your arch. So this is where I push myself up, and any shifting back is creating the sickling. So we want to make sure your demi-point is so strong, is on the very top of your heel, and that muscle also needs to be established. It needs to be trained, your body needs to be trained, and to access that kind of muscle. So I think we have 3 more we'll do more of this. Yeah, we'll do more of this to make sure, but I wanted to finish today. So for the competition, is the time that matters or technique? Is the time that matters or the technique? I can do 4 turns on flat. This is from the 15-year-old. No, you cannot turn on flat in ballet. They just forget that. Because we can't, you talk about demi-point?
She's the one.
Yeah, I know, but she's talking about demi-point. Is that flat shoes? You're talking about flat shoes?
She's saying that you're talking about the technique versus the timing.
Oh, yeah. You can turn 4 turns. I wanted to explain to you again, it's not how many times you turn. It's not how many turns you do. For example, I want to say like break dancing. Let's say break dancing. Is that, hold on a minute. Break dancing. Or jazz dancing. Somebody turn, let's say, somebody turn like this, which is wonderful. I love the jazz. Somebody turn like this, like figure skating, like this. They can turn 9 and 10 times. While this is really beautiful, and I love very exciting, very exciting. They turn the toes and the heel and toes, they go around, 10 times. While that turn is very exciting, amazing, but that turn has 0 value in ballet's eye. I hate to say this. So I'd rather see you do a single turn is acceptable in its shape and form. In ballet's eye, needs to be correct. It's not about the number, how many turns you do. It's about how correct the turn is. That matters. And that's something that takes time. And so I hope you understand. So it's a truly differentiation, different genre, different expectation. So most of the time that we spend in ballet is training foundational technique, fundamental technique. And just like, let's say, playing piano. The keys, the fingers, the efficiency, the fingers on those keys, the accuracy of coordination between 2 hands. So that's the time, just like how we do plie and battement tendu. It doesn't matter how gifted you are. A ballet dancer can never skip the process of doing battement tendu every single day, every day. That's called training. So if you don't do battement tendu, plie, fondus, and then do pirouette and have the balance properly on the bar, if you skip all that, you go directly learn, like Don Quixote's 3rd act variation. That variation is not going to look right in the ballet's eye. I hope you understand this, right? So you have to go through training to create a form that is acceptable. It's not about how many turns you do. It's truly about the integrity of the technique. So that you needed to be very, very clear in your head. The one thing for you to understand, I'm sure the rock climbing in the same way, you have training, your proper weight, your hand to grab the rock. I don't know anything about it, but I think there is a form, there's a technique to be involved, correct? I think I'm right. So what if you see a person, so you rock climbing, let's say you're advanced, you're in training for 3 or 4 years, and you know exactly what to do, you know the language, you know the muscle, access muscle. What if somebody said, never had any training, what is that? I'm just gonna climb up there. I'm just gonna do everything I do, climb there. You'll be laughing, you'll be like, what is this, right? Same thing for us, exactly same thing. So for me to see is somebody who just put on a pair of pointe shoes, put on a tutu, I'm gonna do Don Quixote, 3rd act, I'm just gonna nail the double pirouette. That, first of all, it's hard to make that work, to be completely honest with you. It's hard to make that work. And you need a training. Again, it's not about how many you do, it's about how correct that is. Is it a requirement to be homeschooled to be successful? No. No, it's not. It is not. the time management is a skill. I always found absolutely fascinating with the time management, the skill that dancers have. They a lot, I don't want to say a lot, every single one of them, they are excelled academically. They are, because they learn from very young how to divide their time. They bring their homework to school. They in between rehearsals, they sit over there, do their homework. Very rare you see a student in ballet, very active in ballet, that failing academically. It doesn't go like that. And I also, if a teacher tell you have to be homeschooled, I needed to see you, I need to work you 6 hours a week, 6 hours a day, because you cannot go to, that request, I don't know. I think it can be done without homeschool. I really can be done. I think everybody, every single person's individual situation is different. If you're asking me, is it necessary? I say no, it is not. You can make it work. It can be challenging, but you can make it work. My daughters sometimes do homework to 11, 12 o'clock in the night, but that's the commitment. That's the price they pay for. They know that, and that they're all thriving in both. So do you have tips how to memorize steps faster? I saw your previous video and then they were helpful, but I'm still struggling. So you talk about learning a combination. I think it's a very, very important skill set to understand the combinations, to do exactly what teacher said, with the physicality, with the musicality, with the nuances, everything. And I think one of the things that helps me is not to look at a combination as a whole. For me, is always to find patterns, find similarity, because if it's a proper ballet combination, they all repeat. If it's not repeat on the down from the front and the repeat from the back, is the combination itself inside of it. Let's say 3 temps de plie, and a 1, and a 2, and 3, 4. Repeat to the side. Right? So let's giving that combination make sense. It's not random, right? It's not random. Let's say this is structured combination. Your first thing to do is to find the logical composition in the combination. So instead of learn this every single step, you learn where to repeat. So if I learn and a 1, and a 2, and 3, 4. To the side, it's the same. I don't have to learn it. If it's repeated to the side, it's and 5, and 6, and 7, 8. That's 1, 8. 3 to the front, plie to the back, side to plie. So I find a pattern. I free my mind to focus on something else, right? Because to the back could be different. To the back could be and a 1, 2, and it could be a pas de cheval, 2, and a 3, 4. And a 1, and 2, and a 3, and 4, and a 5, and 6, and 7. I learned that. It's en quad. Could it be a pas de cheval? En quad. Then I have some balance. So in reality, I only learned the 3 steps. So if you learn all these things separately, it could be like 45 things. So could it be to the front? Okay, could it be to the side? Right away, I find a pattern because that same step repeats 4 directions. So that helped me always find the similarities and repeats. And then just pay attention. When teachers always, a professional teacher always going to show this 3 times. They're going to introduce a combination first. Then they will go to the details. They say, I want a head to be here, make sure this is that. They're describing the combination. And the end, they will, let's say, if the combination is pretty long, they will fit the music. They will have the music, have you mark with them, with the music. So you have more than one opportunity to learn something thorough, okay? So, but you do have to pay attention to every single word they say. But it's also a practice. It's an everyday practice. You'll get better over time. So everyone, this is one of a kind of record for a live stream. You know, it's been like 3 hours. So Mr. Jun, non-stop talking. Let me just have a sip of water. I always love this time with you guys. You know what? I feel better about myself because There's things that I do want to communicate, I want to convey. I found that this is a very good way to connect with you. And there's also an opportunity for me to share some of my thoughts, share some of my own take on things. So what? So we can improve. So we can improve together as a professional, as a private person, as a teacher. So we can improve together. And also some opportunity. You know, I'm not a public figure. You know, I'm not. But for me to, like today, we spent significant amount of time for me to express some of my feelings on some things that I don't think is being conducted correctly. And if my voice have anything on anything, I would like to use it to advocate for the benefit of the students and the families. And I want to be that person. I wanted to be a person of reason, and I wanted to use this opportunity to raise awareness and to show my support for the families and the people perhaps get lost and confused. I wanted to be on the side of good, the reason. So we all can move forward with integrity and fairness, and we thrive together. So thank you so much, and I appreciate all your feedback. I appreciate all your questions, and until next time, please take care and stay safe, and we see each other next time. Thank you so much.